I'm going to take us live on YouTube. Here we go. We're live. Hey, everybody.
Hey, YouTube.
Welcome to the live stream. How's everyone doing? You see this beautiful face right down there? That's Tim.
Is that me?
That's Tim. Yeah, on my screen. It's like Justin and I, we make an inverted triangle.
Ooh, a Triforce.
Yes,
I'm power. But there's no way I'm courage or wisdom. What are you?
I'm heart.
You can't be.
Heart.
You can't be. And also, oh God. If we're talking Captain Planet, what was the most useless one?
What, empathy?
Heart. Do you remember? Okay, so this one episode, I think it was the dude who does fire. He was like, I don't want to be a Planeteer anymore. And he takes off his ring and chucks it to the ground. And Guinan, who was voiced by Whoopi Goldberg.
Mr. T. Okay.
So can we swear and stuff?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
So Whoopi Goldberg, I think there's a new thing where YouTube is like, the first 3 minutes can't have a fuck. And then, because otherwise they demonetize yours.
Well, we're not monetized, so let it rip.
Wonderful. So Whoopi Goldberg voices Guinan, the Earth Mother, and he's like, F you, Whoopi Goldberg. And she's like, oh no. And then like puts a spell on him or something so that he sees into the future what the world is like without Captain Planet and the Planeteers. And he goes and he finds all the Planeteers. One of them is like a hardcore, what do they call that? Eco-terrorist type of person.
Okay.
Like sinking boat, the water chick.
Sure.
She's like sinking boats and killing all of these seamen, and it's great. And he goes to, I think it was India. It was where the kid with heart was from. So he goes there, and the kid who had heart is begging in the street with a bowl. And he goes, please, sir. And the guy's like, get out of my way. And he goes, heart, and shoots the guy with heart. And then that makes the guy turn around and throw some coins into his bowl.
I thought you were going to he shoots the guy like with a gun and then robs him. I'm like, this is an awesome episode. He's like, I gave up on my heart a long time ago.
Long story short, the guy learns his lesson and he goes back to the Planeteers.
Well, good for him. Yeah. That's good. Well,
you want me to sing the entire theme song?
I'll be honest with you. I saw that show a couple of times growing up, but it didn't stick. Didn't stick with me too much.
Okay, well, let's remind the audience here. Let's remind the Mind Gap crew. By the way, this is my show now.
Hold on. First of all, we haven't even hit record. We're just live on YouTube, so don't throw out all your bag of tricks. We do this just to like check audio, say hi to people, give people a little bit of time. Hey, no, this is still going to be on the live streamed episode, but
this is still recorded. It's just not part of the.
We already got Noah. Noah's in here. He's saying this is magical. See, Noah gets it. He knows. He understands. So.
Yeah, me and Noah go way back.
Right? Noah is also a student of improv, so he's
nice.
Yes, he did. I think he did one of those summer immersion courses at IO. So back in the day. Right. I mean, I shouldn't say that. He's 23, so I mean, it's not like he's an old.
Well, he's well. Okay, let's get back to age. I'm 43.
Okay.
So fuck you, Noah. No, it's great because I hate lots of things now. I'm literally like, kids and their music. I don't like popular things anymore.
Yeah, it's gonna happen to us all. I am 39. I'll be 40 in February, so not too far behind you.
We're not too far off. Yeah. Mm-mm. And 39.
39.
Okay, so we're not too far off.
Yeah.
All right.
So we all hate. I think Justin hates the least of us. I think I think you and I are pretty close, Tim, on the things that we hate. That's true. I mean, that's fair. But I mean, Justin, do you have a theme song? I mean,
no, but Doug does have a theme song.
Stuff is stupid. Stuff is dumb. Doug hates stuff.
I mean,
he does.
It's the antithesis of Doug loves movies.
Yeah, I got to the point where I was just like bagging on so much stuff that Justin wrote me a theme song. So there we go.
That's great. We're gonna have fun today then.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. I think we're gonna have a real good time. Mm-hmm. So, well, I think we're looking good. I think we're sounding good. We might as well just get this party started. I feel the energy. The energy's here. I say we do this. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1. everyone. Welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin.
And it brings me great joy to welcome back to the podcast after roughly 155 weeks. It's been far too long. Not since September 19th of 2019.
Oh my God.
Was he last on here?
Of the Elephant and Castle.
That's right, in the basement of the Elephant Castle, where we discussed the Dark Crystal, Resistance on Netflix. Please welcome back to the show, Tim Sosko. Things have changed as you've been here, Tim. We have a soundboard.
All of these children that are cheering me. They're just right out of frame. They're just
out of frame. They're always here. They're always here to help and be proud and everything like that and welcome our folks. But seriously, thank you so much for coming back. You are
As
one
always,
of.
Thank you guys for having me. This is the least stressful and the most fun that I have every 155 weeks. This is so great.
Well,
so much fun.
We have fond memories because you were also on episode 33, like early on in that first year, where we actually, I don't know if you remember this, we sat down at the Second City to record with you, and we had one of our favorite moments is when you berated us for not having watched Sherlock. It's still one of my favorite things because I'm like, I heard it's good, and you're like, you shut the fuck up. You don't even know. You haven't seen it. You don't get to talk. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And you were giving us all sorts of. I was like, wow, Tim is into a lot of really cool nerd stuff. I was like, he's like the perfect guest. You know. We
also discussed, and I think about this all the time. Maybe not all the time, but I think about it a lot. We discussed who would win between Chaos and Order, or Dr. Manhattan and Dark Phoenix.
Yes. We literally just talked about that last night, like how that was the thing, and you were like, what would happen? You're like, I think they'd fuck. Like, that was your response.
Did you guys see The Watchmen, that series?
Yes. Loved
we have a lot
it.
to catch up on in 155 weeks.
We sure do.
Or wait, you're running the show, so you do it. You say the next thing I'm supposed to say. Or what we're supposed to talk about.
Oh, that's fine. Sorry, I just realized we have a Discord, and I posted the absolute wrong link. I posted the link to our Video Ninja here, but God bless, we have a great mod in Noah who's like, hey, I don't think you meant to do that. I posted the YouTube thing instead. Thank you, Noah. Thank you. Speaking of...
We easily could have had 10, 15 more guests just popping right in.
Just popping right in and be like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, my bad. So, speaking of Discord, gang, we have a Discord. Do you want to join it? Check out the link in the description down below. Also, check us out, youtube.com/mindgappodcast, where you can watch the live stream of this on Tuesdays or Mondays, whenever we decide to do it, usually Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central. Check out the video game streams Saturdays, kind of, at 8 p.m. Central. That's probably going to be shifting for Fridays for right now because I'm hosting D&D on Saturdays now, which is exciting. So that's occupying that time. But we got to try out the new Jackbox Party Pack game last week and had a blast testing out all those games. So come hang out with us for that. And, while you're here, come here, guys, real quick. Hit the like button. It's free. Hit subscribe. It's free. It costs you nothing. It's great, and it helps us out. And if you're like, hey, inflation doesn't mean shit to me, I've got money, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/mindgappodcast, or redbubble.com. Check out our merch there as well. Look at that. All wrapped up, and I'm going to say less than 60 seconds. Usually I take a lot longer than that, but we're not going to do that today because we
don't have time for housekeeping.
We don't have time to that. We don't have time
thank
for
you
that.
For not saying smash that like button.
Yeah, I feel like I missed that whole culture of that. I came in way too late for that. Where I'd be like, smash it, I'm like, gently caress it.
So much energy when they're saying it, and I just want to.
I feel compelled to do it. All right, Tim. First things first, we have a fan who comes by whenever we have guests, and they always ask them the same question. So I hope you're ready. Your question is, who is your favorite Pokemon and why?
I hate Pokemon. I was not in
so glad you're
Pokemon
here.
Whatsoever.
Correct answer.
That is the correct answer. Sorry, Zinni.
Would it have mattered what I said, or
we don't know Pokemon either? So
you don't know Pokemon either. Okay,
no.
Okay.
Zinni is huge into Pokemon, and she hates when guests don't like Pokemon.
She just goes, "No, I refuse." I'm sorry.
I mean, the one that only speaks using its name.
I think that's all of them.
hence the stupidity of that fucking show.
Correct
So
answer.
bad. So bad.
Tim, tell me why it's bad. What do what's bad about it?
I was not at the right age to enjoy it.
Same.
That probably really it. Is that there's so many things that I was a little bit older, a little bit younger, and I absolutely know that I would have loved them, but I don't. Right?
Yeah.
That was not me.
I think I was like literally like 1 year too old, where it was like if I had gotten into it, I probably would have gotten made fun of, or it was I think I just missed it. Everyone was talking about it. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I'm good, and then I just like, kept going. But I think had I been a year or two younger, I think I would have been all over it, because I know they had Game Boy games and things like that for it. But at that point, I was just ahead of it. I recently tried to offer my daughter the world of Pokemon, even though I don't know anything about it, and I was terrified. I was like, here's this game. Supposedly you'll enjoy it. She's played it 3 times. She doesn't care. And I'm like, I'm not mad.
Is she a nerd at all or no?
Oh, yeah. She's a huge... She loves the Marvel universe. She's like the perfect balance of sweet, like your stereotypical girl, loves unicorns, loves pink, loves princess and stuff, but then she's like, Dad, can we hop on your computer and play Slime Rancher, or can I watch you play that zombie game, or can we go watch Captain America, or like she's just like everything. I love everything about it. We went and did laser tag this past weekend. It was amazing.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we had a really good time.
So when you say you're hosting D&D, does that mean you're the dungeon master?
You are looking at him, sir.
And not only that, it's a homebrew, so Doug created the whole campaign.
I did.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
You're not going off of anything.
No.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, the world is, of the standard Faerun, so like I'm using like some of the geography. Yeah, you do. Tim, don't pretend that you don't know what I'm talking about, sir.
The only thing that I've ever come close to is playing a dice game with Robotech.
I'm not familiar with that.
Robotech is Mango. I think it was Mango first, and then it became like anime, like big long series and stuff. Oh, it was a book series too. That's where I got into it.
Gotcha.
It was a book series. It was really good. We don't have to go into that.
I felt this unnecessary shame just creep into there, and you're like, and we're done. Cool.
Well, I could spend the next half hour talking about how much I
Robotech,
Yeah. Well, no, that wasn't. I don't think that was the song. No.
Oh, that's awesome.
What's the next question I can shit on?
No, actually, I kind of just real quick. Justin is involved with this. Is like Justin's first real foray into Dungeons and Dragons, as well as we've got a couple people that have never played before, and I designed this specifically for them. I wanted to give them like their first new experience in doing this, and we did our sort of session 0. We talked about some basic rules, expectations, then we just sort of got into it, and I stupidly thought, we can cover everything I want to cover in 2 hours, and as it always happens, the players do whatever the fuck they want. Yeah. And they harass and intimidate and torture anyone that they want. And
I'm not gonna say that I intimidated a priest unnecessarily, but he made
him piss himself.
Yep.
Oh my God!
He made him piss himself. Yeah. He made him piss himself. And
wait, you've made up the entire thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you said the world is basic. It's in the same world.
Yeah.
As Faerun, or I forget what you said.
Faerun. You were close. Yeah.
But how do you make up on the fly that the priest pissed himself?
Yeah. See, Tim, this is where you have benefited me. This is where all that money I spent at Second City and IO comes into play, because, you just sort of like, Justin will roll a dice and we'll see like, how good's the dice roll? And then based on how it happens, I'm like, all right, so you failed, or my character failed. Like, for example, Justin was like, I'm taking this guy into this crypt with me. And I'm like, he doesn't want to go. He's like, well, I grab him anyway. I'm like, all right.
Grab him in the back of the neck and
I was
drag
like,
him out of
all right, I'll roll a strength check. Justin plays as a barbarian. So I'm like, it's probably not going to work. So he's like, oh, cool. So you're just going to take him against his will. I'm like, all right. So just so you know, this guy is going to scream the whole time that you grab him. And as you take him out of the church, and lead him out in the backyard and into the crypt. He's screaming the whole time. And Justin's like, okay, I don't want to do this. This is probably not going to work. He's probably going to let everyone know that we're here. And then they brought him back. He ran back inside. And then another character who has the ability to use telepathy tried to like talk to him like through the mind. And he rolled poorly on his persuasion. So then the guy shit his pants and went into like basically a fugue state because he was terrified of what was happening. So we had a great time. Fun was had by all.
Oh my god.
They opened up one of the crypts. It smelled really bad. We had a good fart joke moment. It was great. So I had a lot of fun.
Did you roll for the fart joke?
Kind of. I was like, roll for Constitution. I was like, because
my character would like to try a fart joke. Well,
it's like, well,
He goes, what is he doing?
yeah, exactly.
that'd be a performance check.
Yeah.
But I was like, you moved a sarcophagus. You, something really bad comes out. It smells bad. Roll to see if you throw up. Like it's fun. We had a really good time. So I can't wait for the next session. But anyway, Justin, what did you think about it? That was me talking the whole time. What did you think?
It was fantastic. I got to intimidate a priest. It was wonderful. No, I do also have to thank Tim for the improv lessons because this is the perfect balance, a blend of nerd and improv. It's magical. I never understood it until I started. I dipped my toe in with what Doug called D&D Light, and it was a tabletop board game that really was limited in what you're able to do. It wasn't real D&D, but it gave you the kind of general mechanics. And I was like, okay, I'm finding this interesting. And then we jumped into this, and I was like, oh, I get why this was such a thing now. I understand why in the 70s and 80s this just ran rampant.
Yeah,
it's why it's another thing that I missed. That show choir, Pokemon. There's a couple things that I'm just like.
It's a handful of things,
that I'm like, oh, I would have been so deep into that had I been at the right age or had the certain friends who did it, that sort of thing, Yeah,
I didn't try it until I was, what was I? Probably in my mid-30s, like just a couple years ago. I just recently tried it. A friend at work was like, hey, man, we're doing it, and we can do it digitally now. I'm like, because that's kind of what works best for me. And I tried it, and I was like, holy shit, I really like this. And I fell in love with it. And then, I'm like, cool, well, I want to be a dungeon master. So then I started DMing my own campaign with some friends, and then that sort of ended. And I was like, I want to do another one, but this time I want to do it with Justin because Justin doesn't know anything about this, and I want to make something that's kind of like new person friendly and engaging and fun. And we'll just
when you die in a campaign, are you dead?
Oh, you're dead.
Your character?
I mean, there's certain things like that could possibly bring you back, but odds are you're not going to have what you need to do that. So yeah, it's like permadeath. So
wow.
Yeah.
Then do you even bother coming anymore?
Yeah, you can make a new character after that and sort of like insert them into the campaign. But yeah, that character is like dead.
Open the sarcophagus and hey,
you're like, hey, I'm alive. I'm his brother.
Yeah.
That's hard. Well, that's the thing is the stakes are kind of high in the game for that regard because I mean, you could die, and some of them really.
I don't know if I do well then because I'd be doing all those things. I'd be going like. Let's shit in that priest's mouth. Like I would be. I mean, anything. Old lady walking by. Yeah, let's shit down her mouth.
Well, for the record, also there was another player at this point was like, I think we should. When the priest was screaming, he's like, I think we should just kill him. I'm like, all right, we're going there. We're gonna go dark, huh? We're just gonna assassinate this guy who hired you to get rid of the boogeyman, basically. And you're like, I don't like this. He's screaming. Let's kill him. I'm like, ha ha! Now you guys are getting it. Now you're playing the game. Now you're Dungeon and Dragoning.
Both dungeoning and dragoning.
Yes. So
you're doing it right. It was very, very fun. So I'm looking forward to continuing the campaign.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was very exciting. So
what we should do, Doug? I don't know if you're set up for this, but Doug and I guest starred in another. There's another a podcast that we know that does Dungeons and Dragons as their they podcast their campaign, and they'll bring in guests to be little one-off characters that help push the story along. And so Doug and I got to play two goblins.
Gremlins, Justin. Jesus Christ.
Sorry. Look,
there's a difference.
Message boards are gonna blow up now. Jesus.
God.
Come at me, internet. But if we, I don't know if you have it built in, but maybe we could get our own guest star. I don't know if Tim is interested in that, but
yeah, Tim, you want to come by, be a guest star, be a guest?
Do you live stream them?
No.
Or no, this is just for fun.
Just for fun. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
I've never done it before.
Yeah.
If I could do that and then just like force you all to kill me at the end of the night, like that'd be great.
Dude, that's amazing. That's the goal. That's the dream.
Wait, Justin, what's your character's name?
My name Ash Fallbreaker.
I want to try to kick Fallbreaker in the balls again.
I love it.
You've done it 15 times already. Let's go for 16.
We're going to see if we can do it.
16. Yeah.
I would be amazing. And then maybe we pass the curse on to you where you're like, I really like this. And then before you know it, Tim's like, listen, I may have a lot going on in my life, but I'm carving out 5 hours every weekend for D&D.
I'm sorry, I can only be one-off characters that go for people's nuts. That's it. That's all I can do.
That's perfect. I love that backstory. I love every single character is just like, I gotta punch him in the nuts, man.
The barbarian Ash ripped your arms off and your legs off so you can no longer kick. I'm gonna bite him.
I'm gonna bite him.
17. I'm gonna try to bite him.
He kicked your teeth in. I'm gonna headbutt him. You know, like
I'm gonna headbutt those nuts.
Right. I'm gonna go for a goblin's dozen.
The
there we go.
goal is to kill me.
Yes, 100%.
There's the bathtub just turned on. Is that a problem?
In
my house.
Not for us. No.
Okay, great.
I was like, I mean, you may want to turn it off if you didn't mean to turn it on, but
turn on by itself?
Yeah, I was like, I need some context here.
Oh, yeah. There is no Dana, only Zool.
Ghosts. Ghosts.
Nice.
So Tim, you're a nerd in all the best way, shape, or form. And I remember way back in episode 33, you mentioned to us about this series, a very long series called The Wheel of Time, and how we should read it.
Very important series.
A very important series that I will say also you took us to task on in that episode for not having heard of.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
And you're like, what do you mean you guys haven't read this 14-book series? I'm like, I'm sorry.
But you guys, neither of you are too, or at least at the time, you weren't very into fantasy.
I mean, I was, well, novel-wise, I don't know. I've always dabbled. I'm more in, I can't finish that sentence. Go ahead, Justin.
I've opened myself up to... It was, you know what it was? It was the shame of that episode that I was like, I need to be more nerdy. I need to do this.
Yeah, I hadn't read a lot of fantasy novels. I'd read some Stephen King and some things like that. So like that sort of stuff was definitely, it interested me, but I hadn't really gotten into too many fantasy novels.
Gunslinger. They ruined that movie too.
Oh boy. Listen, I went there opening night and I knew against better judgment. I'm like, I'm going to watch this movie. Like I just need to see what this is, and boy, was it a stinker. That was a stinker. And what a waste of Idris Elba and McConaughey. Like, what a waste. What a waste of talent.
McConaughey would have been amazing as that character, as the Smiling Man, as Walter. Like, he would have if they would have had a better frickin'
You know what? Because originally, Ron Howard...
7 books. 7 full books, and then like 30... bits from other Stephen King books. So I had to cram it all into 90 minutes. What?
Such a disaster.
It absolutely should have been a series. Like that is.
Well, that was the thing. Ron Howard originally, before all this stuff came out, was like, let's do a movie and then we'll do a series to connect that to the next movie. And he was pretty ahead of his time. And people are like, no. But then somehow they came up with Game of Thrones and they're like, this is great. And we'll do 8 seasons and plus spinoffs.
Let's try to get every single IP that's out there in fantasy and make it a series.
Yeah.
And they did that with Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
And it is difficult for me not to put my fist through my screen right now.
I got to tell you, Tim, when that show came out, and I watched it every week, and the whole time I was like, I wonder what Tim thinks about this, because I knew you were the first person that came to mind. Tim has disappeared. Tim is back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to stop the podcast right now and the live feed to say that this screw that was used to install my ceiling fan this screw here has been lost since December. Because I've got a very thick shag rug. It's been lost since December. I just found it. I'm not shitting you. I'm not. This isn't not making this up.
Wait,
I was rubbing my foot out.
The Mind Gap exclusive right here.
Yeah, hold on a second.
Now back to hate.
This is a Mind Gap exclusive.
This is like we've turned into a morning madhouse. Is what
We
we've done.
found the screw. Oh, that was amazing.
I'm happy. I can't tell you how elated I am that you found that screw.
Yes.
So
It's,
happy.
it's so
I was
good.
looking for it for like 15 minutes, just combing my fingers through the shag. I'm like, I can't find
That's
it.
always how it happens. It's just all of a sudden you're like, hey, I got it. It's right here. You know.
Right. And 10 months later.
Ta-da.
So hate. Lots
So
of hate. I watched only the first episode.
you didn't finish.
And
You didn't
then-
finish it,
No.
Well, you didn't see how much better it got then.
dude.
I've heard how. So my sister and brother-in-law were really into it, and they were sticking with it, and they were like, it doesn't seem really that great, and so I was all pissed off about it, and they were like, well, because I was telling them how even in the first book, they dug Robert Jordan. That's just a pen name, but they dug him out of his grave, where he died, because of a horrible, rare blood cancer. They dug him out of that grave and they beat him up, and they reanimated him so that they could show how they were ruining his life's work. And they constantly were punching him in the dick, and they were constantly elbowing his throat. And
They're getting him in arm bars. You know, they were just like doing UFC stuff to him.
The only thing that made me go, oh, I recognize this as the 14-book series that I read, were the names. The names of the places and the names of
The name of the
characters.
show reminds me of.
It was horrendous.
Wow.
And like I was high when I was watching it. And you know, I'm a very happy high person. I got so mad.
I would have loved to have been there for that.
Back and forth. I was so mad. They changed every character. They changed every relationship. They changed everything. It changed everything. It was horrible. Did you both watch the full thing?
I've watched it all.
I wanted to, but I think I caught you relatively soon after it came out, Tim. I think we might have talked after in an early
With the movie
meeting
thing,
about the movie about Love and Improv. And I had asked because I was so curious. I think because Drew had said that he was like a few episodes in, and I wanted to, but I wanted to ask you first. And you railed on the first episode so hard that I went, "Fuck this! I'm not watching it." I
realized
so much to do with my time. I don't need to watch this.
I realized we didn't do a proper intro to Tim. Tim,
who cares?
I mean, it's got what? I mean, tell people real quick who you are, what you do. I mean,
My name is Tim Sosko, and I used to perform and teach and produce and direct and do improv and sketch and musical improv and musical sketch and voiceover and all these things. But then COVID destroyed that entire world, and it's slowly coming back, except the people in Chicago are purposely like trying to make it harder to continue doing that. So and plus I live further away and I have 3 children, so I can't go as far as I used to be able to go to do these things and have the time to do it. Nor do I want to deal with a lot of the
this is a safe space.
Idiots is a nice way to say it. A lot of the idiots that are now sort of running things, because Second City was sold, IO went away, but then now it's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to deal with these idiots. I don't like it. You were saying before, like Doug, you and I are like, yeah, we got a lot of hate. I'm like,
yeah.
You don't have near the amount of hate that I have in my heart.
Well, I
That's
will
who I
say, hands down, one of my favorite improv teachers is you. And
thank
Justin, I fondly remember going through your level D class at Second City, and that class was a game changer for me, particularly because
I think it was
you.
the first time I called. Like, I think that was the first time anybody actually called me out on my shit.
Oh,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You were like, we'd be something like, don't do that. Don't go for the joke. Stay in the scene. You were just like,
yeah.
it was like really good coaching. It was the really good feedback that I needed, and I felt like I was just like primed and ready to go. This happened both at Second City and at IO, where like the penultimate class before finishing was phenomenal, and then the last class just was like,
Oh my god. I don't
Where?
remember the name.
both at Second City and IO for me. Oh, I remember his name.
Oh.
Do you remember his name? I don't know if we should
Level
call it
E. Yeah, call it out. Who gives a shit?
out. What was
It's
his
Tim O'Malley.
name? He was the worst, hands down, bar none, teacher I had in my career at Second City. In the writing program and in the improv program, just the worst.
Yeah, it was
You
bad.
probably had a skinny, not drunk, not constantly eating candy Tim O'Malley.
I don't know. He seemed like he definitely was on the up
Was
and
he
up
constantly
sober
eating
wise.
candy?
I can't remember if he was constantly eating candy, but he was an odd dude
He
altogether.
was just getting off a lot of stuff.
That's
when
why
he and no offense to him. When I had him, I liked him. He was great.
Yeah.
But no, he just unfortunately has went south a little bit. That's okay.
Yeah, it
And the
was.
thing is, as a person, I don't want to besmirch the name too much because you might be a very nice individual. Just that class specifically,
Yeah.
that was a horrendous class because he was trying. He inserted himself into the scenes more than most of the students did, and I was like, "What is happening right now?"
We also did warm up games for 30 minutes, or like at least 25 to 50% of the time, and I'm like, "Are we done? I think we're warmed up. What are we doing today?" Like I used to get really mad. I'm like, "I don't want to play Big Booty anymore, man. Like let's go." Like.
Oh, that's so great.
It was it was tough. And I loved it too because there's one specific moment too, like, we were making fun of everything. Someone made a religious joke and he's like, hey, whoa. I'm like, wait, this is the line? This is the line for you? Is religion? I was like, yeah, because I'm assuming that's probably one of his cornerstones for probably getting sober or something like
maybe.
that.
I don't know.
But he was like, whoa. He's like, take it easy. I'm like, what? What are you talking about, man?
A lot on going for an easy religious joke.
Yeah.
Or anything that's easy. Anything where it's like, you didn't have to do anything to say that.
Yeah.
Jewish people, right? That's what it would be like. It would be like, I don't know what those people are doing in those backwards countries where they pray to Allah. Right? Like, shut up. You have no.
Yeah.
In my mind, there's ways to rip into it.
Yeah.
Do you ever see Norm Macdonald rip into a guy? It was like for one of the stand-up, stand-up competition shows on the television.
Okay.
And this one guy was doing a whole bunch of making fun of Christian material, and Norm Macdonald is just like, Roseanne first goes, "You're so brave to do religious humor," because she's thinking when she started, when it was literally you were brave doing it.
Yeah.
And then Norm Macdonald goes, "I don't think you're brave at all. I think it's cheap. I think it's easy." And and this young comedian is just like, whatever. Somehow he's trying to not take a note that one of the greatest joke writers ever gave you.
And that was the hardest thing to learn, like doing improv, right? Was, okay, there's the easy, okay, there's the thing everyone thinks
low-hanging fruit, yeah.
Right. How do you go 5 levels beyond that? And then, which is always the challenge. It started that with, like, you get a suggestion. It's like, suggestion is pineapple. People are like, hey, I'm at the pineapple store. It's like, no. Like, what does pineapple make you think of? Oh, it's yellow. Great. Well, I'm going to put on a yellow cape and I'm going to be Robin in the scene, or whatever. Like, just finding ways to connect that because, I mean, it's tough. I can't imagine. Listen, my wife, God bless her, sat through so many of my shows. And I remember one point she goes, I can't do student improv anymore. I'm like, I don't blame you. Like, I don't blame you.
I can't do student improv.
Right? Like, I understand, especially she's like, I'm here to see you. I don't want to see anyone else's group or whatever. I'm like, that's fair, because this is the odds of it being good is probably slim, and that's fine. You got to get reps somewhere, right? That's what it's all about.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Got to get practice. Got to get that stage time. But we all know what it is. You know, we're not being like, hey, we crushed it. We killed. We murdered. Maybe once. Maybe out of 100 times.
Two shows that I can remember where I felt coming off. I'm like, that was cohesive.
Yeah.
We said things that actually related to things other people. Was it funny? I don't know, but it was cohesive. That was good.
We connected.
Our level 6 show. Do you remember what a shit show that show was? Or level E? I don't know.
Yeah.
Which way they go.
Well, it's just no one came.
Last one.
Whatever.
Yeah. Nobody came, which is always. I mean, who's going to come to a level E show? And it was just. Yeah. It was bad. It was rough. Well, part of it too, and again, this is just me. I don't like short form games. That's just not my wheelhouse. I like long form stuff. I like to let stuff breathe. I like to explore things. So I know short forms its own muscle, and that's just not for me. That seems
should have been at my level. I make them do long form stuff.
Yeah, that's my jam for that sort of stuff. But yeah, so Tim is here. He teaches that stuff. That's Tim Sosko.
Should I give details about why Wheel of Time is the worst show ever just from the first episode?
Sure. Well, because here's the thing. I had nothing to base this on. I was like, I'm looking at a purely neutral stance. I'm like, this is fantasy. I'm like,
so neither of you have read this yet.
Nope.
Oh, once again, shame upon your families.
I read the Wikipedia on the first 2 books.
Wikipedia pages on this, so
because that's what happened is when I go through this stuff, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to Wikipedia and see like what I could pick up. I'm like, is this at least somewhat accurate? And of course, Wikipedia just does the plot, doesn't get too much into the details. I'm like, this seems on par. I think like I couldn't really tell.
The guy who I don't know if he's the showrunner or wrote it or something. Somebody texted it to me and said, "Hey, guess this thing you like is on." And here's this, quote from this guy's Twitter page or something. When he's just like, "I've done my best to honor the series and da 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 da." And I watched that first episode, and I'm like, I could kill this guy. I could murder this person.
Wow.
Do you know if they're making a second season? Do you know if they're?
I think there are. I think it's happening. Which honestly, when that first season was done, I was like, I'll be surprised if there's a second season.
But what do people like it? That's the thing.
I don't know.
Did you go onto the old chat boards?
So Rotten Tomatoes has an 82% approval rating.
Is that critics or audience?
Yeah, that's true. There's a difference.
That is true. Well, hold on. Let me give it.
Because if I can understand if the critics,
here's a big thing that I would say that the critics would praise it for is that it was so multicultural.
There he goes. He scratches his face. For those who are just listening,
this is its own world. And if you read these books, all these people who look, dress, talk, have different attitudes, different customs, different cultures, all from these different countries. They're not. Some of them get along. Many of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout 14 books, they all come together to fight the darkness.
Okay, which makes sense, right?
Yes, they don't. They can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that when you have every culture in this made-up world represented right away.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. No one will learn anything. You fucking idiots. It's just. I'm so full of rage.
You're not gonna be happy about this.
What?
So it says. So real quick on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got an 82% critical response and a 60% audience response.
Sounds about right.
Little bit closer. So on May 20th, 2021, Amazon renewed the series for a second season ahead of the series premiere.
Wow, bold.
Hadn't even. Now check this out. On July 21st, 2022, ahead of the second season premiere, Amazon renewed the series for a third season.
Oh,
wow, bold.
I know, right?
Here's the thing. People are going to watch it, and then if, let's say they like it, are then going to go to the books and be like, oh, now I want to read these books.
Yeah.
And then I think they're going to hate the books. Because, first of all, there's not people fucking in the first goddamn book. There's not people banging. Oh my God. Egwene and Rand don't ever have sex. They kiss like 3 times. That's it.
Whoa. Okay.
I hate that series. I hate it with
Interesting.
Such a passion.
Well,
Did you know that Matt came from a wonderful family in the books?
Really?
Yep, totally fine. Did you know that Perrin wasn't married in the books?
All right, I'm starting to see that this is problematic now that you know the. This is why I was like, I don't know the details. Because here's the thing, right? Sometimes, like, take for example, The Boys. A big fan of The Boys. I've read the comics, love the comics. Show very different than the comics, but also show needs to be different than the comics because the comics are just batshit insane for the sake of being batshit insane.
And I am completely willing to be like, oh, I can suspend my disbelief and go with where this is going and that sort of thing. The first time the Lord of the Rings, first Lord of the Rings movie, I was like, Tom Bombadil isn't in it? Who cares? Look at my fantasy come to life. Like, that was such a cool thing. But not when they change. I've said before, they literally change every character's backstory and every character's sort of personality palette. And then they change all of the relationships of all the characters. You can't do that and have, oh God. Oh, it hurts so much.
Because there was apparently an animated spin-off called Wheel of Time Origins that was released in parallel to season 1 of the show, and it provides additional context about the show's fictional world. And the writers were saying that they wanted to where was the quote I just found? They wanted to shit as hard as they could down the throat of
Robert Jordan.
When did this come out?
In writing the episodes, they wanted to be focused on concepts that tied in thematically with the main show that might be of interest to serious newcomers and that longtime readers of the books might like to see visually.
No.
And there's going to be more origins that are coming out on this stuff. So that's season after season, and now they're doing...
They're supposed to live in a village?
Huh?
A village. They're supposed to live in a village
where
the only building that was 2 floors and had a slate roof, because everything else was thatch, everything else was hay. The only place was Egwene's dad's, the innkeeper's inn. That was it. That was it. And it had, 8 rooms in it or something. Village, not city.
Sprawling.
Not sprawling. Oh, it's everything. It attacked everything that I loved about that series.
So what did you...
You know that Lan is supposed to be like the giantest man that anybody's seen in that village ever? With these giant broad shoulders, and just his look would kill you. Not supposed to be some short little guy. Like, oh. A lot of hate. And Moiraine's supposed to be tiny.
Okay.
She's supposed to be so small.
Uh-huh.
Because she's also from Kyrian, which is where they...
It's where all the little people live, right?
No, not where the little people live, but they're shorter. They're much shorter. God damn it.
They live right next to Khazad-dûm, where all the little people live,
Anybody who liked that's watching right now or listening right now, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Oh, no, wait. Let me amend that before you lose too many followers or whatever. If you've read all the books and you love the books, and then you watch the show and you love the show, then you need to come over to my house and I'll kill you.
Go to the house. I'll kill you.
Yeah.
I love it. No, that's interesting because I liked. Well, first of all, the Trollocs bothered me. I didn't feel like those were. I don't know. The look of them.
I didn't even see him. You know what? I'm going to look up right now what one looks like from the show.
Yeah, the thing was still shots were fine when they remove it and you could tell it was CG. It was really kind of yeah. It was kind of like when we talked about the Dark Crystal. When it was like, hey, it's animated, and then it's like, I'm the guy. It's just kind of like a hard transition back and forth between those two. But yeah, because the thing is like. Part of this is, I know this is it's always, when you go to a fantasy setting, you have to learn the rules of the world.
Right.
Yes.
And try to figure out what's going on. And I found it very intriguing, right away. The idea of who can use magic, who's not allowed to, and why. And, there's a lot of interesting stuff. So I think that's what compelled me to keep watching. I'm like, I think I got through the first 3 episodes and I was like, I'm not loving this, but... I'm kind of in it now, so I kind of want to see where it goes and what's going on. And the concepts of it were pretty cool. I would absolutely understand if. So let me ask you this:
some of these Trollocs look amazing.
They do, right? Because they're up close, they're close-up shots and everything like that.
Yeah, I can see if it's once they get to CGI that it totally sucks.
They were.
Some of them look fantastic.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say: is you read the books,
mm-hmm.
and they don't give you exposition dump.
Of course.
They introduce things slowly over time, and if they already had a second season before the first season began,
right?
Like, do give your audience some credit.
Right.
Like, look at some of the greatest shows that they build slowly over time that people love and will talk about forever, and will buy all the merchandise, and will. I'm thinking Breaking Bad sticking out in my head, and then they do Better Call Saul, and that is arguably better than Breaking Bad. Like, and people will keep coming back to it because they're not treating their audience like fucking morons.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Justin.
Something that is 14 books long and spans decades. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't, as a showrunner, if you're trying to, per his tweet, do justice to the source material or whatever the fuck he said, why you wouldn't take your time and build that. For fuck's sake, you've got 14 books, 14 novels. That's an incredible amount of source material. You don't need to jam. First off, you don't need to go so far off course from what you're saying, from how these people interact and what they look like and where they're from, and et cetera. But
another reason to have it in a small village is because then as they journey, all the people that came out of the village, as they journey, they get to learn more. And hey, then me, the audience member, gets to learn more too.
Bingo.
Yeah. So I want to go back to that because I actually remember when Justin told me. He's like, hey, by the way, Tim's helping us out with this movie, and he hates the Rings of Power. I'm like, oh, really? I was like,
Rings of Power?
I'm sorry, not Rings of Power. Sorry.
That too, and was like,
sorry, my bad. I got them mixed up because whatever, they're things. They're wheels, rings. It's all the same. Time is a flat circle. We all know that. Yeah. Anyway, the wheel of time, and I was like, we should get him on here because I really want to hear his perspective on this. Because again, I have no context for this. So you mentioned that like this village, right? What's the village like? You mentioned like there's not much for structures. It seems pretty remote. What else about this like is problematic in terms of like the story from your perspective? It's
a bustling city where there's a whole bunch of people from all the different places around, and that's not it. Mm-hmm. They're stuck in this little world, and they have their traditions and they have things like that, but they also have their prejudices and they have stereotypes that they think about other people, and they've heard of Aes Sedai, and they've heard of the closest actual city, which is what this looks a little bit more like, which is Baerlon or something like Baerlorn, or I forget the exact name of it, which is almost a week's ride away on a horse. Like, it's a whole bunch of farmers, and they grow tobacco, basically, right? And then they have curing sheds, and they have sheep, and they sell wool. Like, that's it. They get 2 visitors a year, like when the snows, and they have some people doing that mine. They have miners and things like that. But it is remote, and then in the village itself is just thatch roof little cottages. That's it. That's it.
So, yeah, I guess, yeah, that's interesting because I like that.
You're already taking away the innocence of these characters. You're taking away the innocence of the characters and what the warnings from the adults mean. Who, especially like Tam, who has been out there in the world and that sort of thing. You're taking away so much.
I do find that much more interesting because I imagine it like, I don't know, town I grew up in, rural Missouri, where people hear about the queer folk that live down in Columbia, Missouri, and don't go down there or they'll convert you. That kind of like rhetoric. I imagine it's probably the same thing. A lot of thatched roofs, a lot of agriculture and smoking tobacco and all that sort of stuff. Because that does exist to some degree. So I can imagine, especially in a more fancy like setting that is so remote, that experience has got to be pretty cool when they set out, right? And as they experience the world and they're trying to compare between like, were what all the elders told us correct? or is it different? Is it not? And like you said, like that is either, just naive youth or reckless youth or whatever, trying to be like, oh, I know, I'm not too worried about that sort of stuff. But then, shit happens, and how that can affect how that stuff goes.
And where they come from is it informs their outlook on the world, right? So you're changing core characteristics and character traits from what these characters, from what I'm gathering, obviously.
The core characteristics of these characters get changed, but they get changed by these journeys that they go on.
Yeah, and as the showrunner, you're from the jump, you're changing the characteristics of you're changing the core of who these characters are from the source material. So you're telling a different story that's loosely based on characters that are called the same thing. Names
of places, names of people. That's the only thing that they got right.
This is where the difference, because we did a couple episodes back, we did all the people who are getting super butthurt about it's a black elf.
The Rings of Power.
Can't handle.
Black elves, not in my Tolkien universe. Black dwarves, get the fuck out of here. Like, they were so upset.
Right.
That there was a black elf. They're like, no. Tolkien said they were fair-skinned. Like, Jesus Christ. Like,
well, maybe those certain elves were, but then there were others that went to the woods. The wood elves, they became something different.
Exactly.
Here's what I don't like is, like, I could see that showrunner, I could see that showrunner going, we got to make this for, let's say, Gen Z, right, or even millennial generation or something. So that means we have to have all of these things. I don't think it was, these characters were the best for the job. No, they chose to go against what this was, which pisses me off so much. Was something else that ticked me off. Sandman. Sandman. I've got some issues with Sandman because that was another one that I'm like, I can't wait for this to come to life because it's I loved it so much. Let's dip over to that real quick.
Let's do that. Because Justin and I are versed on Sandman. I've read that series like 4 times. So.
Oh yeah, me too. I've read it, so I have it. I love it. It's fantastic, and they did a lot of. They stuck to a lot of good stuff, right? There's so many things that they stuck with, but the things that they chose to, what do they call it? Virtue signal. The things that they chose to virtue signal on were things that I was like, okay. So like, there's a whole lot of extra characters now that are gay or trans or something else that they put into the show. They didn't need to, because in the books there were already so many of them, and it made it so much. I was thinking of the character, the trans woman. It's the guy who's living. When the women go off they follow the path of the moon. Do you remember that story? It's later on in the books. Anyway.
There's like, oh shoot, I think I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, this trans character gets such a wonderful story. Such a wonderful way to like speak out who she is and what it means to be who she is and all of this, just all this great stuff. And then, I mean, spoiler alert. Great. Then she dies.
Yes.
And then we have to deal with the characters, the parents and the family that shunned her, giving her a funeral and what that's like. It's just so powerful. And when you clog it too full of again, virtue signaling, I think you take away from those powerful moments.
Interesting.
When it's no longer important or interesting that there are characters of color, other minority characters, gay, LGBTQ, whatever you want to, you know what I mean? You pick any of them. It takes away from the power that they had in the book when I was like, oh, I could feel my eyes watering at what had just happened. Like it's so powerful. And they made some choices that I wasn't happy with. But I think, here's the thing, they made some choices I wasn't happy with. And then on the whole, I was like, I still think this is awesome. But then I started reading comments from the creators about some of the questions people had. And they were trying to come up with logical reasons for it. that weaved into the story. But then people would go, but what you just said didn't make sense with this other part. And then they would go, oh, well, that's because another excuse. Well, then that doesn't make sense with this other thing. Oh, well, that does, like, they're just digging themselves a hole constantly.
Were you talking more about the showrunners or the Gaiman himself? Because he was vehemently like he was shooting people down artfully on Twitter. Like, you're talking about the showrunners, the creators of Sandman, right?
The creators of Sandman, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So were you talking? But like,
oh, I don't know who it was. I just saw.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
I just saw.
Yeah.
Question from somebody, answer, and then another question that said, but what you just said, that answer didn't make sense with this, and then here's my next thing, and then it's like, oh no, that doesn't. I'd almost wish they said. Actually, I think maybe it was one that Gaiman wrote. I'm not sure, but there was one that was just like, why is Death black in the show? And it's just because she was the best actor for it.
Yeah.
And period. Great.
Right. Gaiman's
that's it.
The best at that.
Don't try to make it make sense within that world, because you're not going to win against the nerds out there who know everything about that world. That doesn't. Doesn't make. Yeah.
I think to that end though too, like, and I think something that I think it was Gaiman that brought up. But he's like, what? First off, in the book, in the comics, she was drawn one way, but there was never a hard distinction what race Death was. So Death could be whatever actor. To your point,
they're not a race.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
They're not a race.
So the
what,
fact
what they looked like in front of what they looked like when they were around each other.
Right.
That's what I imagined that they most looked like.
Right.
If we're talking about that.
Yeah, but they could be, again, like, there is no actual distinction, so doesn't really matter. It's kind of a moot argument for those who are getting bent out of shape about Death being black. Who fucking cares? It has no bearing on the character or the story that character is telling whatsoever. And I think that's the kind of stuff where people get really bent out of shape on that. I'm like, this doesn't affect the story at all. Why is this even being brought up? You know, that's where I don't have the patience to suffer those kinds of qualms from fans on the show. That's where I think nerds give themselves a bad rap, or certain nerds where you're just like, guys, let's dial it back, because this isn't actually a problem. You're creating a problem where there is no problem.
Because I think, Tim, I think you were one of the first people I talked to shortly after Endgame, where you're like, man, that scene, like Endgame, where all those ladies all came together. You're like,
oh my God.
Yes, that was one. Yes.
And I was like, at the time, I was like, no, this is good. This is a good thing. But upon repeat watching, I'm like, oh.
Doesn't it just feel gross?
It does.
It feels gross.
It feels disingenuous.
Yes.
It feels really disingenuous. And I'm like, I see what you were trying to do, but it's cringy now. It's really cringy. It didn't come up because I think, again, callback to our last episode, episode 214 or 215, whatever it was, when we were talking about, the Dark Crystal. You were like, this is a world where all of these gelflings are ruled by matriarchs. We don't explain it. They are. They're badasses. They're respected. And we, as viewers, are like, yes, these matriarchs are badass, and people listen to them, and they're the rulers. We don't have to be like, they're rulers because they're ladies. You don't have to have a male gelfling say, I know more than you because I'm a man, and then rips off a thing. But I'm a woman. Yeah.
a woman.
Yeah, like all that sort of 80s stuff.
Just
Yeah.
powerful because they're powerful. That's
exactly. They exist.
Yeah.
You don't question it because this is the world in which that exists. And it's like, yeah, all right, that's cool. It's I respect that sort of stuff. And when I think about that from time to time, again, for some things, like when I watch Wheel of Time, I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I don't care. When it comes
you
to
don't have that connection to it.
Yeah, because again, my thing is a lot like with Justin's. If it doesn't affect the story, I don't give a shit. Get the best person in there. I don't care.
Here's my thing about specifically about Death, but really about Morpheus as well, which is, again, I don't care about color, but they tried. It seems like, at least in this first season, and then the extra episode that they threw in there as well. It seems like they tried to make them more human.
In what way?
As opposed to they gave them way more human emotions and problems and things like that. Whereas Morpheus in the books is just like,
Pretty cold-hearted.
But she's gonna die. That's what humans do.
Very detached. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't. Again, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot with that sort of thing. It's like, why are you trying to do that? Again, this is taking away from the strength of the moments where they actually do show. Morpheus will show anger, or he'll show sadness, or he'll show more human emotions, because they're endless. They were around like before the universe was. Is if you do it all the time, I'm not going to care when it really matters.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not anyway. So to that point, I could again, and maybe it's just because I have a super nerd thing for Neil Gaiman, super nerd thing for Wheel of Time, where I'm like, I totally get what you're saying. There's times that I find like, oh, I don't care. And then there's other times where I'm like, no, this just wasn't the right choice. You know, I don't hate it or them or anything like that, but I'm like, no, it just wasn't the right.
It doesn't work for you.
Choice. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Do it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I like. I have gotten to the point now where I like the creative liberties that people take with things. I don't need to see a direct adaptation of The Sandman. Like, I've got the book. You know what I mean? I can always look at that. I think you have to choose, right?
Yeah.
Either.
I don't think we do now with CGI.
It's true.
The world of dreams.
Which I gotta say, honestly, I love the show. I love the show. I was eating it up. I was just consuming it. I was. There was my favorite episode's episode 6, The Sound of Her Wings. That was one of my favorite. That's the one where it's kind of at the tail end of the first trade, where he basically gets all of his stuff back, and he's sitting in the park, and that's where we see Death for the first time, and then we have Hob, which like those two, like some of my favorite stories, like was so good.
Great. Yeah.
Hob is favorite recurring character. I also liked episode 4 when they go to hell. One of my favorites.
They screwed up the fight at the end though.
Did
it was supposed to be against the demon. Yeah.
Yeah, see now that's I think I was like I thought I remembered that it was the demon versus Morpheus. It wasn't.
So again, spoiler alert, but what that so Morpheus defeats the demon and then gets his mask back.
Yes.
But Death is insulted. And that drives story later on.
You mean
what?
Lucifer?
I'm sorry, not Death. I apologize.
Yeah, it's okay.
Lucifer, yes. Lucifer is insulted. But again, what would insult Lucifer, and why would he then go to such great lengths later on to do something is taken away by the fact that Morpheus actually defeated Lucifer in this.
Mm-hmm.
I just always wonder. I'm such a nerd for that, for the story and the structure of it, especially when it works so well.
Yeah.
Why change it?
Why do this?
Why change it?
When you're really teeing up a battle or some sort of a confrontation down the road? Why why shoot your shot here?
Yes, okay. That's a big part of it for me. Is
that's
like
interesting.
You're sucking away, because then in my mind as a writer, what I think is, well, then they gotta phantasmagorize something else. They have to make something else up to make this more important later on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. When they didn't have to. It didn't have to.
Well, it's funny because you bring that up, and this jogged my memory with the movie The Watchmen, Zack Snyder's version of The Watchmen, which was, kudos for basically trying to do a really good recreation of the graphic novel, almost panel by panel, as he did with 300. Which is like the visionary. I'm like, you looked at the comic and you just literally did that. So let's not call you a visionary.
He has vision to read the
comics. He did. Yeah. I love that. From the visionary director of 300. I'm like, yeah, I read the comic. It's basically that. So congratulations. You reproduced that. No, but there's a scene in particular where, in Watchmen, where you're seeing like Rorschach's backstory, where he tracks down like a pedophile who has been hurting kids. And in the comic, he handcuffs the guy to a shack, and then he lights the shack on fire, and he throws him basically like a hatchet. He's like, you can either cut your arm off and try to escape the fire, but you'll probably bleed to death, or you just stay there and you'll burn to death. And I was always like, that is Rorschach. Like, for him, it's about justice. Like, it doesn't matter if you stole or if you killed, he's going to make you feel the consequences for it. But in the movie, Rorschach, in that moment, gets so upset that he takes the hatchet to the guy's head and kills him. And I was like, that was my moment where I was like, whoa. Rorschach is... He has a very strict moral code, but he doesn't fly off the handle. The only time you really see him fly off the handle is at the end of the story, you know, when he's doing whatever he's doing with that sort of stuff. So I remember watching that movie theater and being like, wait, what? No. Like that one thing caught me. So I feel like I'm identifying, you know, same thing with you with your experience. You're like, wait, why didn't he just duel the demon? Like, why did it have to be Lucifer? Like, it's, you know, you're asking those questions where it's like, wait, I feel like that changes, you know, things and how they go. I don't hate it, but I feel like
that's the thing. I don't hate it. I still like it, but again, you're in the world of dreams. There's so much more you could have done with making that just anything and everything you wanted it to be. I don't know. I could go on and on about this.
I feel like I want to take just the recording of you sighing and make that just an audio drop.
Make it another one of your audio drops.
Because we've got plenty of those that we've had from people being on the show or doing video game streams where I'm like, you are now on our soundboard. And I feel like a Tim Sosko sigh needs to make it on there where someone says something, we're just like, I'm like, yeah, that'll capture the moment really well. Well, you know, if there's one thing I think we can all appreciate, it's anime. Are you a big anime fan, Tim?
I used to be much bigger, and now I've not really been a part of it for a long time. They tried to do Cowboy Bebop, which was like my favorite as a live action, and they did the same thing. They did the exact same thing.
This podcast an extra 2 hours because there's so many of these.
They took that one out to the shed and they old yellered it, you know.
Even my favorite one, Mad Puro, they killed it. Okay.
Well, I tell you what's killing it is this new segment called Anime Out of Context. That's right. We're back again with some anime out of context. And if this is your first time here for this, congratulations, you're in for a treat. Basically how this works is Justin knows nothing about anime. And I know just a little bit. Just a little bit. I dip my toes in from place to place and
know enough to know you know nothing.
Yes.
As to what's out there. Yeah.
Yeah. I need hard recommendations from people like, you need to watch this. I'm like, cool, I'll do it. Because I've tried, and I've been like, what have I done? And that's actually one of the reasons why we have this is because I've dabbled, and I'm like, this is insane. And we know what would be funny is if I had Justin just do a cold read of one of these scenes, and then be like, so what do you think is going on here? And it's turned out to be one of my favorite things to do. So I thought, with Tim being here tonight, this would be extra fun. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to do a cold read. We're going back to the well for the anime Bastard with 2 exclamation points. This show is on Netflix.
Fucking stupid.
And I don't like this show, but I forced myself to watch it so I can find... this is going to be part 5 of Bastard. We've done Bastard 5 times. This will be the 5th time. So, the way this is going to work is I think I'm going to do... I have these highlighted in colors. I'm thinking I'm going to have Justin... I'd like you to be Ninja Master Gara. And Tim, I'd like you to be Arshizne. They most
realize you then have the colors reversed.
What have I done? I'm an idiot. Hold on. We're gonna fix this.
Don't worry about colors. I'm colorblind anyway. Doesn't matter.
Oh no!
Calling that out.
Hold on.
You know what I can do? Read a script.
You know what I can do? I can read the words. What if I
nay? I'll read those lines.
There you go. That's good.
Now wait a minute. Your email said I haven't read this obviously.
Yes.
But is it just monotone or is
No, you're gonna give it your all, Tim.
I want behind it?
Yeah. you're going to do... Now, I'll tell you, I'm going to give you some minimal direction on this. Not much.
Great.
Just a little bit to kind of give you just, it's animated context, but just to give you, as a performer, just a touch of context. I'll be reading all the screen directions and also, some of the stupid characters, side characters. I'll be reading some of their responses because I feel like it adds out a little flavor. But, Justin, you are going to be playing Ninja Master Gaara. We've seen Gaara before. He is a strong and agile leader of the ninja army. All right? Very, I'd say he's pretty headstrong, pretty chest strong. He's a pretty powerful guy. Arceus Nay is a powerful elven warrior, empress of thunder, adopted child and lover, Gross of Dark Schneider, who is the kind of anti-hero of the story.
They really named somebody Dark Schneider.
Yeah, so this whole, this show... is the guy who created this.
I am holding the Murasame blade.
There you go, see?
Master Gaara, and this is my lover, Dark Schneider.
Thank you.
So the guy who made this is a huge fan of like 80s and 90s metal. So people will cast spells that are like Guns N' Roses. The main place takes place in Metallicana. It's batshit nuts, crazy. So, so a little bit of that's kind of who you are. So do whatever voice you want, give it whatever you want. We'll kind of take it from here, and we'll just kind of go from the top. Arceus Nay and Gaara square off with each other on a stone bridge. Nay wields her lightning sword, the Rasengan. Gaara holds the Murasame blade. The air is tense, as that should say each of the two leaders' armies watch the exchange.
What kind of hotel is this? Come on, Doug.
Sorry. So just
we finished? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I was waiting for him to change the text of the word each. I'm sorry.
I did instantly. Pay attention, Stradlin!
Nice to see you, Arceus Nay.
Gaara, I want to know the truth. Why did you betray the 4 divine kings?
Well, that's an easy one. I joined forces with Dark Schneider because he's way more fun.
Oh! You imbecile, die! You don't deserve the title of Ninja Master. You were once part of the 4 divine kings, working with us to finally unseal our demon god. Oh, Anthrax. But now you fight for our greatest enemy!
Ha! Did you learn how to talk like that from Kal Su? You know what I think? I think you wish you could join up with Dark Schneider as well. I know you do.
You know nothing! Lightning sword!
Nay leaps into the air as her sword begins to flicker and spark with energy. She brings the blade down quickly towards Gaara.
That sword. Murasame blade.
Gaara blocks at the last second with his own blade. The two struggle and grunt as each tries to overpower the other. Eventually, they push each other away with a blast of force, kicking up dust.
Well done surviving a strike from the Rasengan. The Murasame blade is an impressive sword.
Indeed. And you too have an interesting toy. This is the first time I've had the pleasure of seeing it in person.
Look! The sword is covered in lightning! No way! It's that legendary sword! It's gotta be the Rasengan! They say it's as powerful as a fire sword! They say if the wielder is strong enough, it can even split a mountain!
So she does wield the legendary Rasengan sword, and it's just as powerful as I've heard. The Murasame blade survived the attack, but any normal sword would have snapped in two. They say that flimsy sword of yours could split a mountain.
And you doubt it? Just you watch.
Nay sprints forward to attack, but Gaara throws several knives, forcing Nay to jump backwards.
Knives? You'll need more than that.
All right. What about this?
Gaara throws a ninja star the size of an extra-large pizza stone, forcing Nay to jump high into the air. Gaara sees this opportunity to strike.
Gotcha.
Gaara moves at lightning speed and jumps high into the air above Nay. That's it! It's Gaara's special move!
Magickin!
Gaara slashes with the force of a hurricane winds as the silhouette of Nay is cut in two. He did it! He cut her in two! Master Gaara is amazing!
Too easy. Something's not right. I can feel it.
As Gaara looks closer at the body, it's revealed to be a goblin. What a scandal!
What? An illusion?
Nay flies down from the sky, eyes fixed on Gara.
It's over for you. My secret hurricane-style attack will send you to your grave. Dragon Blast, Demon Slash.
Gara screams in pain as his arm is sliced off at the shoulder. As her blade connects with the bridge, it explodes, cutting off the pathway for any of the two armies to advance. Master Gara, I don't believe it. This is a nightmare. Master Gara.
Incredible. What incredible power this sword has. As long as I have Rajenkin, no one will be able to stop me. I have no reason to fear Dark Schneider. Ha 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 ha.
Wow. Regiken is compatible with your power. I could feel its energy growing. It's sexual.
Damn you.
As Gara continues laughing, we hear an echo as there are 7 Garas floating in the air. What in the heck is going on here? Whoa! It's Master Gara! He's alive! And look, there's more than one! Which is the real one? Just what kind of trick is this? Ninja 7 body split technique!
What the fuck are we doing? Why are we reading this?
Exactly.
This is horrible.
He takes this at night and just jacks off frantically to it. You just killed one of my copies. Couldn't tell if it was real. Real? Question mark. I've got another question. Since we split up, can you figure it out which one, the 7, is the real one?
He played me by using his ninja art, I'm saying to myself.
Back then, you were known as Dark Schneider's lover, weren't you? I always assumed at some point you'd switch sides, but no. Instead, you're fighting against him.
Nay readies her blade and starts to do a classic anime scream that starts in low in pitch and slowly goes higher.
It looks like you're ready to fight for real. Let's do this.
Gara flexes like real hard and all of his armor explodes. He's now just wearing pants.
Nice. Very astute. So you understand your armor is useless against my weapon. It's no matter. I'll send you to hell with my next strike anyway.
The strongest swordsman of the 4 divine kings. Nay, I accept your challenge. Can you stop my ninja sword?
What? What kind of stance is that? That pose! It's Master Gara's most powerful move!
Murasame, go true magickin!
Gara's copies raise their blades in unison as the metal starts to glow green. They swing as one, expending a tremendous force.
It can't be. It's a sonic boom.
Master Gara's sword moves faster than the speed of sound. It's over
boom.
for her. No one can survive that attack. The Empress of Thunder is done.
Haven't they both been moving at the speed of light? As fast as lightning?
This isn't the time for questions,
Why would the
Tim.
speed of sound matter?
It always matters.
The 7 body split technique. It's an illusion created by high-speed intermittent movement. Only one of them is real. Even if he's a ninja master, he can't shoot 6 true magic guns at the same time. I mean, obviously. There's only one coming for me. I can see it. Now!
Nay swings and strikes the blade of the real Gara.
What's this?
I saw it. True magician.
I don't believe it. She blocked me from such close range. 6 copies unleashed into the attack at the same time, but she found the real one. This is too long.
Nope.
You're finished, Gara. Any last words?
Nay's blade, Rajenkin, starts to crack.
What? What is this? The Rajenkin is cracking.
Nay struggles to maintain the power and the blade explodes!
My Rajenkin, no way! No way. The true Magican, what a formidable sword.
Oh, isn't it? And I think I'm the winner, Nay. You can't fight with the broken sword. You don't have to worry, though. I know how very important you are to Dark Schneider, so I'm not gonna kill you.
Gara, you scum. You wield such a powerful sword, but you and Dark Schneider have turned into dogs for the royal family. How dare you try to stop us from creating one perfect world? You're such a fool.
Let me explain. I care nothing about the fake utopia
Please.
Kal Su and the others are always going on about. Listen, all I want is to have a little fun.
You bastard. Bullets of light!
Several balls of light appear around Nay.
Are those magic missiles? Gross.
Anthem!
Nay casts her spell and the magic missiles fly towards Gara.
Give up, Nay. No way you can beat me with this magic.
Gara parries the magic missiles easily.
My turn, Gara. Because it wasn't before?
Apparently not.
I said stop it. You can't fight with a broken sword. You'll get killed.
Nay roars defiantly and jumps into the air. Her broken blade begins to glow with a purple light. Gara jumps to meet Nay for an aerial combat.
Roger Kent doesn't cut with its steel blade. Witness the secret behind the sword that splits mountains. How can secret thunderclaw blades? How can secret thunderclaw blade strike?
As Gara swings to parry Nay's blade, the energy passes right through and slashes him deep in the side. He falls to the ground, wounded.
That's impossible. The lightning sword went right through Murasame.
Now you know it's the lightning that forms the blade. That's how it's capable of splitting mountains. It's impossible for any sword to block it, and soon it'll end your life. After I finish you, your friend's next.
Do you really think you can kill him?
Of course. After all, it's for our perfect world, our perfect sorcerer kingdom, and now you die!
As Nay goes for the killing blow, there's a convenient blast of magic that destroys most of what's left of the bridge. Everyone looks up at a statue of a gargoyle, and once you know it, there's Dark Snyder, perched with his cloak blowing in the wind and a wicked smile. Guess he saved the day for this episode. Cue the weird anime outro that depicts all the female characters as part of Dark Schneider's harem, which I really don't like. And scene.
Well, now that I know there's a dark harem, I may have watched this show. Oh, God.
So the reason why that went as long as it did is because there were so many insane things. Anime obviously has a real bad habit of over-explaining, what people are thinking, what they're saying, the attacks that they're using. My favorite part was all the guards being like, "Oh no, it's his secret super duper attack," and then it's like, "No, it's his even more super duper." Like everyone knows these super attacks, and they're like, just
this show is the worst.
It's not great. It's not great. It's not great. Again,
I would take the wheel of time over this show any day of the week.
Yeah, the only good thing is that these are 25-minute episodes, so
I gotta think. Long time ago, when I was more into anime, I was like, why do they make so many like this? And a buddy of mine was like, oh yeah, it's because it's their. Not that they don't have other television shows, but they, as many regular shows as we have, they have anime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm just, oh, okay, yeah. So then they have to have dramas, they have to have fantasy, they have to have sci-fi, they have to have all these, and they're gonna have shit. They're gonna have just absolute crap.
And they will have fans for all of those shows. Just like there's some people like, I love the Real Housewives of Potomac. They're
Potomac.
Or whatever the hell the show is. Like, there's fans that fucking love this show, and I'm like, why? The show sucks, but people love it, man.
I was watching what was the most it's old, but I was getting into it for a while. Is it not Blade of the Immortal? It's one where they there's hollows, and there's guys with giant swords, and they're like technically angels, and there's different levels of them. You guys know this at all?
This sounds like a bunch of different animes, like the rules.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it, but then it kept going.
I think it's called Blade of the Immortal, I think is what it's called. I just looked up
Blade of the Immortal is that. I actually read that as manga first,
okay,
and then it was made into an anime. But no, there's a different one I'm thinking of. Bleach.
God,
Bleach.
The show that has like 800 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. And I was totally into it I just lost the screw. Found it again. Okay.
Oh.
No, for a while I was into it, and then like I said, it just kept going. They found it was double cross upon double cross upon double cross upon deeper, worse bad guy upon deeper, worse bad guy upon even better good guy, who then turns out to be the worst bad guy until they're found under another worse bad guy. And they just
I watched like the first 10
level.
episodes of that, and then I heard that there was at that time 300, and I'm like, I'm out. I can't do this. I can't commit to this. And then it just keeps going right now. Like,
that's
I know
what it seems like there's a lot of those out there. And
One Piece is another one that's got like a bunch of episodes too.
I've heard about that. I won't even start it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a commitment,
Hero Online or something.
There's My Hero Academia, I think is one of them.
Something Hero Online. Sword Art.
Sword Art.
Sword Art Online.
We've done a couple of Sword Art Online anime out of context.
Yeah,
that's
I watched
a show.
The first episode of that, and I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm gonna try to get into this.
It
was more drama than it was action.
Yeah. The first season, I don't know how you want to call it, is I think solid, and I feel like it ends and it's good. After that, I'm just like, why does this keep going? And God bless them. I watched all of them. I watched all 5 seasons of it, and
wow,
yeah, pulled out some content for this show because of that one. So thanks for that, gang. But I think Bastard takes the cake. I mean, as far as just pure insanity. I think it's self-aware. I'll give it that much. It's self-aware.
Here's what I like to tell myself when I don't understand what's going on in these things, is that they have a completely different culture than us.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of what's the Studio Ghibli, whatever it is, that did Princess Mononoke and
Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle.
Away. Okay, there I am watching Spirited Away. I'm like, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. And then it ended, and I had to go back and watch it again. It was like, and the line that I just didn't get was, "Oh, it turns out that you were the water spirit that saved me when I was a child." Oh. Credits roll. I'm like, what? So is there something in that culture that's like, oh yeah, everybody knows about water spirits, and everybody knows that this archetypal character was saved when they were a child, and this so where we would say anybody would make any sort of reference to Cinderella, or anybody would make a reference to
guns.
To what?
Guns,
Guns?
Yeah, I got my gun. People are like, yeah, that makes sense. We all have guns. Pew, 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 pew. And people are there like, wait, you guys just have guns? It's like, yeah, check out this cheeseburger. I'm going to shoot with this AR-15. That's, that makes sense to us, right?
I don't know about that cheeseburger thing, but...
Come on.
But yeah, Is that what it is though? Is that where I'm missing things sometimes?
I think probably. I mean,
obviously you're not on TikTok.
Definitely not.
Oh my God! Did you see the dread in his face? The soul left his body. He's like, I'm not doing TikTok.
Nothing since Facebook.
Yeah.
Nothing since Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I signed up for Instagram once because it was like.
I think you do.
I forget what
I found on there, but it's.
Am I on there?
I think you are. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah.
I just assume you don't have them.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I've got nothing. I don't do the social medias.
Nah, you're better for it. Trust me. Your mental health's better for it.
I know.
Well, that was a great anime out of context. Thank you, Tim, for humoring us
pleasure.
And going along with that. Just pure insanity. I had a lot of fun typing that up.
I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. Justin's just going to be like pissed. He's going to hate this. I didn't realize I would find myself hating it too.
Look, right? I'm keeping with the theme of the show. All right, I'm keeping you in it, keeping the hate alive, just stoking those flames. Well, this is the part of the show where we offer up any recommendations for people. If there's something that you read, something that you've watched, something that you listened to, book that you read. I think I already talked about read. If there's anything that you're like, hey, listen, you all need to check this out. Maybe it's a really good anime.
You need to check out Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time.
Need to. Okay.
Yeah.
You also need to check out N.K. Jemison's trilogy. I think that starts off with The Stone Sky, or maybe that's the third one. But N.K. Jemison. Only if you don't want to smile or ever feel any sense of awe or ever feel like there's going to be hope. You read that trilogy. It's really good. Like, it's really well done. She writes an amazing book, but it's all trauma. Every character is so little good and lots of bad.
The Broken Earth trilogy?
Broken Earth trilogy. Thank you. Yes. Patrick Rothfuss is another one who's written 2 books. It's The Wise Man's Fear.
The Name of the Wind.
Name of the Wind is the first one. Yeah. So that, and there's a third one. There's a third book, but it's about a side character. It doesn't stick to the story. There's going to be one more book in this trilogy, and he's taken his fucking sweet ass time writing it. Piece of shit. No, because it gets to a point. when I'm like, okay, author, like get your head out of your ass and write, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just write.
Is this the King Killer Chronicle? Is that what it's called?
Yes, King Killer. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Really good stuff. Really,
Neato.
really good stuff. Oh, and Dune. But here's what I would say for Dune. You have to read Dune, then you have to not see the movie for a year or 2 years so that you forget a lot of the details. And then, because that's what I did. And then I watched it. Holy crap, did I love it.
I'm assuming you're talking about the most recent version of Dune and not the...
Yes. None of the other ones that were like, what the hell? Yeah. At least from what I remember, I'm like, wow, they nailed that. They nailed I enjoyed the feel of it. I enjoyed the political aspect of it. There's so much that I enjoyed about it. But I'm hesitant to say, go read the book and then watch the movie, because that just ruins it if there's details that are missing, you know?
Yeah.
So
I love that movie. I haven't read the book, but I was like, this movie's dope as fuck. I love it.
You haven't read the book?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I was gonna say I also did not want to tell people to just go watch the movie, because a lot of people have said it's so confusing and they just don't understand it. That's definitely one where they don't like spoon feed you the whole time and try to get you to understand it.
But again, you can, if it's one of those things where it's like at first you're like, I'm sorry, what? It's also throw in some subtitles. It'll do you a real solid sometimes when you're like,
Yes,
I'm sorry, the Bene who? The Bene who? Like the Bene Gesserit? Yeah, exactly. That's who they fucking are, you know?
You mentioned it before with the Gelflings. There's another one.
Yeah.
These women control the universe.
Yeah. No joke.
These religious women control the universe.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah, that movie was fucking awesome. I've gone back and rewatched it several times. I purchased the movie. I'm like, I love it. So good. Hans Zimmer killed it with the soundtrack.
Oh my God.
So good. Visually, so good. Oh.
Yeah.
Great recommendations. Get out there and read, folks. That's our recommendation. Fucking read. Justin, what do you got?
I'm going to say get out there and fucking walk. The last few weekends, Beth and I have gone on a couple hikes, and it has just been fucking food for the soul. So get out, go find any nature you can find wherever you live, and just walk through it and take some time.
Not just walk through it. Fucking walk through it.
Fucking walk through it, you clowns, and enjoy it, you know?
You pieces of shit. Go out and touch grass, you piece of shit.
Go touch grass.
How many people were watching, and then when we called them clowns, how many dropped off?
They know we mean it as a term of endearment. You know?
I told them I would have killed them if they read the books and then watched Wheel of Time and liked
They
it.
knew they deserved it if it came to that, you know?
Yeah.
They knew what was coming, you know?
We have a bunch of sadists that watch our show,
Yeah.
so
They're totally down for it.
Good.
I actually just started rewatching a good anime called Demon Slayer. First season's on Netflix. Really great show. I wanted to go back.
Yeah.
It's got a really great art style to it, and it's got a cool story. It's about a kid whose family gets murdered by a demon, and except for his sister. For some reason, his sister lives, but she got turned into a demon. But he's trying to save her because she's not fully a demon. She doesn't attack him, so he's trying to learn the way of the Demon Slayer to become a part of the Demon Slayer Corps, you know, and fight all these guys and figure out the one, because he's got really good sniffing. He's got really good smell. He can sniff stuff. And it's like, wow, that's a strange talent, you know, to be like, cool. But he uses it to his great benefit. And it's really cool. I really like it. It's pretty heartfelt. Again, first season's on Netflix. I think there's like a season 3 that's coming out on, you know, Crunchyroll, so I haven't even seen the second season yet. But there was a movie that came out in between those, and I watched that, which was really awesome as well. So I think it's a really cool show. I think it's really, people fucking love it. So, you know.
What's the one with the alchemy and the brothers?
Oh, Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That's the one you got to watch, because they originally tried to do it before the manga was done. So they got to the point where they caught up and they're like, we're going to try our best. And it wasn't very good. It was really, really bad. Because I remember going back and reading like the Wikipedia. I'm like, none of that shit happened. That sounds way cooler. And they're like, guess what? We're getting the original voice cast back, and we're going to do it the right way. And they did it. And I'm like, this show fucking rules. And I want to own it, but you can't buy it anywhere. Like digitally anyway. You can only buy Blu-rays. I'm like, I don't have a Blu-ray player. Got rid of that shit.
Man, everybody's got it. Nobody should own anything. It should all just share it always.
Always, man.
I want to hold my copy of this thing and like, oh my God, I just got for my birthday like a month and a half ago, 3 collections of old Tex Avery cartoons.
No
You
shit.
guys ever know Tex Avery?
No.
Droopy and Spike and like
Slappy?
You ever watched?
Slappy?
No, not Animaniacs. Tex
Oh,
Avery.
okay, gotcha.
Like the Car of Tomorrow and the
Yes.
Okay.
I'm looking up,
the wheelbarrow of time. Yeah.
Anyway, never mind. We keep trying to leave, and I keep thinking of other things.
I'll be here all night, man. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
We got to do a 24-hour one of these where it's just.
We've talked about it before.
It's one of my greatest fears is doing a 24-hour stream. I know streamers do that. I'm like, how? How can you do that? It's probably good for about. It's good for like, I don't know, 25% of the time, and then it just would be absolute pure hell because I don't do well on low sleep at all. I don't. So Tim's like, fuck you. I know.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah.
It'd be like, hey, I would just go real hard on the soundboard. That's what that would be. It'd be really bad. It wouldn't be good. Yeah, ba-boo. Well, Tim. That one always gets me, no matter what. Fucking Morpheus saying machines just out of context. It's just it makes my heart sing.
That would be a solid 45 minutes of
oh yeah. 24 hours. I'd be like, okay, we're gonna do. It's like that one word improv game. You know, we're just go back and forth with sound bites. You know, just trying to create sentences and things like that.
There you go.
Be a real delight for everybody. They'd be like, this fucking sucks. I'm like, yep. Welcome. And I'd be like, I found a new soundbite. Let's see if we can make something new with it. Tim, this has been absolutely delightful. I make a vow.
Always a blast, you guys.
We will not wait 155 more weeks. We will do this again soon. We will. I tell you what we'll do. Here's what we'll do, Tim. When the Rings of Power Season 2 comes out, we'll do a watch party, and you can come on and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about everything that's good about it. And everything, where there's room for improvement.
Are you talking Rings of Power or Wheel of Time?
You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm fucking talking
I thought
about.
you were talking about Rings of Power.
Yeah, you did it again.
I meant the Wheel of Time.
I'm not watching it.
The Wheel of Time.
That's how much I hate it. I am not watching the Wheel of Time.
That's why.
How about you watch season 2? Don't watch season 1 and just jump into season 2.
Right?
I could because I know absolutely everything about that.
Right. You could be like, hold on a second.
Maybe they fixed it by the last episode. And
right.
Season 2 can crush.
You know what? I vowed to do that. I will watch at least the first episode of season 2, and we'll see what.
We know who the dragon is. We know who the dragon is. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Is that this thing? The dragon?
Yep.
Yeah, we know who it is. I think it's accurate canonically.
Who is it in the show?
It's spoiler alert. It's Rand.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, see, that should tell you that season 2 is off to the right foot.
No, it's not.
It is. It's off on the right. They got it right, and he went off on his own into Mirkwood. He went off into Mirkwood by himself. You know, he's just he didn't put on the ring because Gandalf told him not to. And
what's happening right now.
He jumped over to Lord of the Rings.
I don't like this.
He found Elrond, young Elrond, and the Khazad-dûm, and they were like, getting the Mithril out. They gotta save the people. But then Galadriel comes out and it's just like, I will murder all the orcs. Death, genocide. And it's fun. It's a good time. Tim, thanks so much for being here with us. This is so much fun. Had so much fun being here. Tim.
My pleasure. I love this stuff. You guys are great.
I'm gonna offer it. I know what you're gonna say. Anything you'd like to promote or anything you'd like to share for people to check out? Any place if you want people to contact you, it's there.
I'd have no place for people to contact me, and unless somebody's just like, man, we need a voice, and this guy's voice is great, and I want to pay him money to use his voice. Then you can contact me through my website, timsosko.com.
There it is.
And it's. But otherwise, no. Oh, I'm going to be in this cool movie called Love and Improv.
What?
Can't wait for that.
Called Tim.
God, the writers of that movie sound like they're real fucking special.
Can't wait. It's going to be great.
Was the role, I don't know, like written for you or something? It sounds very weird.
Yeah, maybe.
It's going to be good. I can feel it now. Well, Tim, you're a delight. You're a wonderful human. We're so happy to talk to you as always. So thank you for stopping by.
You're very welcome, and right back at both of you guys. It's so much fun.
Yes. All right. With that, I'm going to say, Justin, thank you.
Doug, you didn't do any of the plugs.
Fuck it, guys. YouTube.com/MindGapPodcast. Check us out on all our social medias at MindGapPodcast. Patreon.com/MindGapPodcast. Check out our merch, Redbubble.com. Get you something nice. The holidays are coming. I don't know. Fucking buy yourself a shirt. You deserve it. Maybe. I don't know. Go out and walk. Touch grass. You clowns.
Touch grass.
You clown.
You fucking clowns. All that good stuff. We live stream. Usually Tuesdays for the podcast, 7 p.m. Central. Video game stream this Friday instead of Saturday. Check us out. I don't know. Check out our Discord. I'm very angry right now for some reason. Fucking follow us. Justin, where you're online. What's your shit?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. None of this matters.
It matters.
We're getting really nihilistic right now. Fuck it. Justin, thank you.
Doug, thank you.
Tim, thank you.
Thank you both.
Chat, thank you.
Listeners, thank you. Get the fuck out of here.
You all have a dandy fucking week.
Goddamn clowns.
Bravo.
Did we do it?
It
Did we
ended
win?
so angry.
We you know what though? We ended the way that we started, angry. That's what it built to that moment. That was beautiful. That was perfect.
YouTube, thank you for watching, everybody. We
Yes.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. You all take care, and I'll see you on Friday for the next video game stream. Until next time, mwah.